Okay. We give it a few minutes. There is only okay. We have a few people in. Good afternoon, evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of the webinar. And thank you for being on time. My name is Phoebe Msonda. I am from Zambia. I'm in Lusaka right now. I'm the Central Southern Africa Regional Coordinator. I'll be your moderator again today. And we have Mr. Ndilo today to just finish up for part 2. I will just give a brief introduction, just in case there's someone here who wasn't here last time. I'll just introduce him briefly. Give me a minute. Yes, please. So Mr. Fulgence Mituka Ndilo is our presenter again today. He is a finance and accounting professional with 10 years experience in accounting, finance, operations, and internal and external processes improvements with an international institution. His education is he has a Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting, Bachelor of Commerce Accounting from Kenyatta University, a Master of Business Administration, Strategic Management, United States International University, and is currently pursuing his PhD in accounting at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. He's also a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, and currently principal accountant, students accounts at the United States International University, Africa. So that is Mr. Ndilo. I will allow him to start his presentation right now. Please feel free to use the chat for any questions, comments, and be as interactive as possible. Mr. Ndilo, over to you.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning or afternoon for those who are coming from zones outside Kenya. Thank you very much. Today we are going to do a practical example on how we are going to do our budgeting. And before we do that, we'd like to recap on what we did on our last lesson. And specifically, there is an area which I'd like us to emphasize on. And we are going to look at that before we do our practical example on budgeting. So we're going to do 2 budgeting. If you remember last lesson, we had the setup budget and the other kind of budget which we're going to look at. So remember, we are going to do 2 practical examples, one for the startup budget. Let me share my screen for the... You're able to view my screen?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So I like to emphasize on this. And if you remember on our last lesson, these are the stages which I like to emphasize on them before we do our practical example. So if you remember, I asked you guys to at least come up with 3 goals. The most important thing in your financial planning is goals. So you're supposed to set up your goals. And the goals, they're the ones which at the end we're supposed to achieve. And secondly, we were supposed to come up with the vehicle or the assets which they're supposed to help you achieve your goals. Then you're supposed to do the financial forecasting, whereby this financial forecasting model, you're supposed to help you making some very financial decisions, like purchasing of assets. Are you going to purchase them or are you going to hire them? So in this financial forecasting, it's where it will enable you come up with those decision-making kind of processes. Then you're supposed to project your income. And after projecting your income, you're also supposed to project your expenses. And after projecting your expenses, it's now when we are supposed now to look at the budget, which is one now we are going to work on today. So remember, the aim or the end results here is goals. You are supposed to ensure that you reach your goal. So I hope and I believe that each and every one of you have at least picked at least 3 goals: the drivers, your forecast, your projected income, and your expenses. Because maybe I'm going to pick 1 or 2 of you to tell us about the goals and all that, so that we're able to work together to come up with this projected budget. So back to my screen sharing, and we are going to start with the startup budget. I hope everyone is able to see it and it's visible. Let me increase the font so that you can see. So basically this is a template of a startup budget, which I usually come up with, and I'll share it with Phoebe so that if you want to use this template, you can use it. You can edit to suit your needs, so that when you're pitching your business to investors, you know what is required for you. So at any particular time when you're starting your business, this is a sample kind of a budget which you're supposed to come up with. So this is a sample template which you're going to work with, so that whenever you are pitching your business ideas to the investors, you are able to see or to present your budget. So basically this is what is there, and here is just an overview whereby you have the budget goal, which is basically $15. You can put any amount of money you want. So if it's 20,000, you can put the $10,000. Then the estimated expenses. The estimated expenses, remember, we are going to put it here. I'm going to share with you two of these. Sorry, someone is speaking. Okay, we're going to have 2 of these so that you can pick which best suits you. So when you come to your expense, depending with the type of business you are, here it's where you're going to put your expenses. So for instance, for this kind of business, you're going to have a domain name. And for that, it's not essential, right? So you have to categorize your expense and know, is it essential, is it non-essential, or you can work with it later. And this will really help you in making decisions. So for domain name, if you're doing an online kind of business, domain name is essential, right? If it's not essential, you can just put it not essential. And if you require it or you want to use to have this kind of expense later, you can say later. Then you give the budget. How much do you want to use for the domain name? So is it $10? If it's $10, you can put $10.
Sorry, Fulgence.
Yes.
So, someone in the chat says they're unable to see the template properly. Are you able to zoom it in a bit? Zoom out a bit.
Is it visible at this time?
Let me ask the person. Judith, is it clear now? Please let us know in the chat.
I want to confirm before I proceed.
Yes, please. They said it's okay.
Okay. So for the domain name, so I'll repeat. For instance, this is a domain name. If it's $20, you can put $20. So depending with the budget you want. If it's $15, you put $15. And kindly note, the figures, they are linked. The amount you put here, they are linked here. They are linked here. So if you change the amount here, you'll find out also here the amount changes. So if you put $50, again, the estimated startup expense also change here. So we'll retain our $20. Then we have padding. When you are presenting your case, or you are presenting you are pitching your idea to an investor, and you have this kind of a budget, we have people who like to paddle or to pad the amount of money, and this, it can allow you, in case you have over or under estimated the amount. For instance, let's assume our budget is $20, and if you go to the market, the real domain name cost is $25. So if an investor has given you $20, it means still you have a deficit in your budget. And to enable you to cover all those things, you can pad your budget. And it depends on how you can pad. You can pad it with 5%, 10%, depending on how you want it. So for instance, we can pad this one at 5% and say we are going to pad our income with 5%, and it will be automatically generate the total based on the budget and the padding markup of 5%. So all through, you have to go all through on your expenses. So we have the square space, whereby if you are renting, so for instance, you remember we asked you're supposed to come up with the vehicle to drive you to attain your goal. So if your vehicle is for you to have maybe an office space, for this, it's very essential for you to have an office space. It's essential. So the cost is $250, and if you pad it with 10%, we can pad it at 5%. So our padding can be 5%, sorry, not 500. We can pad it at 5%, sorry for that. So basically we can pad all our expenses at 5%. Logo, branding, identity, it's non-essential, and that is the cost. Photo hosting service, all this. So this one depends on the type of income or on the type of business you have. So basically here you'll startup expenses. You'll put your startup expenses, the expenses which you'll need to start your business. So you'll need the office, you'll need the chairs, you'll need all those things. If you're starting a photography business, you'll need a camera, you'll need the lens, right? You'll need the umbrella lights, right? All these, you'll need them. And for instance, for this kind of example, the umbrella lights, you can buy them later because they are not required urgently, right? So this is where you're going to put your startup expenses. Then if you go down, we have overhead expenses. Overhead expenses, expenses which you are going to incur, right, when you're starting your business. So you can categorize them, you can give them name, right? You can maybe say, what can we say? Not labor, I don't want to use the word labor at this time. Maybe casuals, for office fittings, right? You can give it the category, it's essential, and you give it the budget. Again, you may need maybe cleaners, office cleaners, it's essential, then you give it a budget. So here you are going to give your overhead expenses, and bottom here it's not going to give you the total of the monthly overhead costs, right? Then you can estimate the months at a loss, how many months are you going to incur a loss? Remember, we said you're supposed to budget for, you're supposed to estimate. When you're starting your business, you're supposed to estimate for a loss. Because again, you remember we said you're going to have a curve-like, right? It's going to be a curve-like when you're starting your business. At the beginning, you'll make losses, then you break even. Then as you go up, you make profit. Then the plateau will stay stagnant with the profit. Then the profits will drop, then back again. So you estimate the months at a loss. So for this business, you can estimate within the first and the second month, we are going to have loss. So if it's 1 year, you can put 12 months if you're expecting the loss to be for 12 years. But generally, you have to be idealistic. So let's assume it's going to be a 3 months whereby you're going to have the loss. And the estimated loss, the total estimated loss, we're going to have this, the total overheads. The total overheads cost multiply by the estimated months of loss. Because remember that these total overheads, we had placed them on a monthly basis. So for instance, you can see it's here, monthly overhead expenses. It's a monthly expense. So if it's office cleaners, it's 200 and all that. So the total estimated loss, that amount, then again you have to pad your loss. So again here we can pad our loss because we've been padding our profit or our income with 5%. Here we can pad our loss with 10%. So we assume we are going to have a 10% loss pad. So giving us a total estimated loss of $2,181 US. So this kind of basically this kind of a format which I'm going to share with you, it will help you to come up with a budget to start your business. This is just a budget for business pitching. So if you're pitching your business, this is the kind of budget which you're going to use. So this is one of it. Allow me to share with you the second one and we go with it with you through. We have another one here. I hope everyone can see it. Let me zoom it. Everyone can see it, or I zoom it more? I think there we are okay. So this is a second one which you can use to pitch your business. It's a startup budget. The first one, you can use it, and we have the second one. So it's up to you to check which one are you going to use. I'm going to share with you free of charge. And again, as I've said, you can edit it to fit your need. So for this one, you can put your business name here. So we can give it a name. You can give it Desmond Jesse Limited. We can call it Desmond Jesse Limited. So we have our startup costs here. And first, when you're giving up your startup costs, these are the costs which you're going to incur when you're starting the business. So under the status cost, we can start with the fixed costs. We can have advertising. So when you're starting your business, you can start advertising. You can put 1,000. We have the inventory, the initial inventory, material and all that, parts. So if you need that inventory and all that, you can put 10,000. Then we have computer hardware and software. In case your shop might need a machine, that is maybe a laptop or a desktop. So you'll just put it there, 2000. The equipment, we can put it at 1,000 shillings. Franchise startup fee, in case you're franchising, you'll have to put the franchising startup fee. And for this kind of business, the Desmond Jesse Limited business, it's 0, right? Graphic design for the brand, the logo and all that, we are going to incur a cost of 2,300. The government permits, licenses and all that, make sure you include them when you are pitching your business. We can put it at 500. Reserve for unplanned expenses. We have some, when you're starting a business, we have some expenses which will incur, but you've not planned for. Maybe you'll plan to have your machine, your laptop, but you didn't have the wire, the extension cable, you didn't have the software or the Wi-Fi in your budget. So here it's where you put those unplanned expenses for those emergencies or for the items which you didn't budgeted for. So for us, we're going to put 2,000. For the supplies, we can put 1,000. For the web development, again, we can put 1,500. So ensure that whatever expense you have here, the startup, you put it under here. And remember, it has to be fixed expense at this category. Then after putting your fixed expenses, using this kind of model or using this, we are going to have the average monthly expenses. Remember on the other one, we had put it as overhead. Now here, we are going to have the average monthly expenses. The first one now, it is loan repayment. In case you have any loan, you put 0. You need monthly insurance, right? You pay for the insurance. We can put 1,000. Rent, if you are renting the office space, we can put 1,000 again. Salaries and wages for your workers, we can put 5,000 shillings. Subscription fee, 500. Utility bills, we can put 500 also. Then we have the total average, which is that amount of money, 8,000. We can just edit it to make it to show that it's total. So you can put it as totals. And let's put it bold. Also this one, let us put it totals and bold so that we know what we're working on. Then we have the number of months, right? How many months are you estimating to be covered? So we can give it a half year, or if you are pitching for you to be assisted for a year, you can give it 12 months. But for us, let's give it 5 months, right? So now we have the total startup cost, which generally the total startup cost is the average monthly expense and the fixed expense. So that one will give you the total startup cost. Then after having your total startup cost, we are going to have a look at the startup funding for Desmond Jesse Limited. For the startup funding, how are you going to fund? All right. So here you indicate how you're going to fund your business. Remember, this kind of a budget, let me remind you, it's for pitching, right? This is a kind of budget which you're supposed to use to pitch your idea or your business idea to investors. So the kind of investor funding, in case you are partners, you can write partner 1, or you can say Desmond Jesse, that amount of money. Sorry, Desmond, for using you as an example. Desmond Jesse. Then we can have the second partner. We can say Tem Olive. Then we can say Tem Olive. Tem Olive. Tem Olive can be the second partner. Then we have the total funding, which comprises with the first and the second investor, right? So once you have that kind of investor funding, you'll now go to the second kind of financing. 1 minute, please. The second one is the basic financing, on which for the financing, you can have the bank loan, right? Maybe you can have the SACCO loan, right? So you can put it in case you have any other source of funding, which is you are being financed. So for us, I don't see Tem Olive or Desmond Jesse going for any kind of loan. But if they have any loan, they have to put 1,000 shillings there. And remember, if you're having a loan here, ensure that you have loan repayment here in your expenses. So remember, if you're having a loan there, one of the monthly expense should be the repayment of the loan, right? So we've placed here a loan of 1,000 and a replacement of 100 per month. Then the next one, other funding. So if you have crowdfunding, grants, if you have donations from well-wishers, from your family, from your friends, this is where now you're going to put your funding. So basically this one is a good model because it clearly separates how your funding is going to look like. And this, when you pitch it to your investor, is able to check and see, oh, so this guy has this kind of funding. So how can I suit in this kind of business? So the total funding will come to 68 for the Desmond business. So we are going to have the 68,000. Then we have the net. Basically, the net is the funding minus the expenses. Just give me 1 second, please. I need to connect my charger. My machine is going low on charger. Kindly 1 minute. Yeah, sorry for that. Everything is okay. So basically, as I've said, the net here is basically the difference between your startup funding minus basically your startup expenses. So this is another template which you can use. And for me, I usually prefer this kind of template because it looks organized and it's well placed. And an investor or the person you're pitching your business to can easily follow the budget through. It's very easy, not complicated as the other one. So you can use these templates as compared to the other one. And remember, you can edit this template regardless of, so that it can fit your need. You can open a new tab so that in case you have advertising. So maybe you can open a new tab and you can rename it and put workings. You can say workings. And under workings, so remember the first item was advertisement. So you put advertisement, right? So under advertisement, oh, it's not the first one. So adverts. So now you can put here, now you can split or you can give details of the figure of the advertisement. So you can start and say, maybe you can say newspaper advertisement at 500. You can say number 2, web or social media ads. You can give it at 50. Then you can say TV stroke visual ads. You can give it at 500. And you have now this total. And if you're going to give it, you're going to do this, ensure that you link whatever is here so that our advertisement you say is equal to, you go to workings, you pick this amount of money so that it picks whatever is here, so that whatever you work onto in this sheet, it automatically populate on the other. So that maybe social media, you revert it to 25, and this one to maybe 450, 975. You don't have to come here and write it 975. Automatically it picks. So try as much as possible you link so that you don't have block figures. And this one will help you. For the inventory, beginning inventory, you can come here and have your inventory and categorize it, or you give the details of your inventory. So you can say you need this kind of business. You can say it deals with which kind of business can we say? Maybe you can say it's I'm trying to look up business which we can familiarize. Anyone who can give us any kind of business we can work with? Anyone? Anyone who can give us any business? Ice cream business, okay. So we can use ice cream business. And for the ice cream business, what is the kind of inventory? You'll need the ice cream, right? You'll need the ice cream. So you can say for the ice cream, maybe then you split. And ice cream, say vanilla. Vanilla one, you say it is 50. You say strawberry, 50. Then basically those ones. Then the next one, we give, maybe you'll need the spoons or the scoops. The scoops you'll need maybe for 10, right? Any other thing which we're supposed to use? Tissue paper. Someone is saying tissue paper. So we can use tissue paper and we can have like 1 or 10. So again, this one is to enable you to, when you're pitching, and for the person you're pitching your idea to, is able to follow up. Because remember, it's very difficult if you bring this budget to me and you just tell me advertisement 975. But as an investor or as a person who is interested in your business, and I click here, I see the working C5. And if I go to the working, I'm able to see under advert, there is newspaper, there is social media, there is TV and visual adverts, which is giving the total of this much amount of money. And for the inventory, it can clearly shows what comprises this inventory. Someone is asking, how can we link? So this is Excel basically, it's an Excel worksheet. So after putting here your workings in a separate worksheet, you'll just come here to beginning inventory, you put is equal sign, or you can just put plus sign, but is equal is the best one, is equal, then you go to the working and to the total and you pick by selecting the total. So you click on that and you just click enter. It will automatically populate to put it here. So I'm urging you guys, avoid putting huge figures. If it's equipment, try as much as possible in the working, categorize or give details of your machines, right? Indicate if it's a laptop costs this amount of money. If it's a camera costs this amount of money. Because if an investor maybe is interested in some of these equipments, right? And let's use this example. You've pitched this idea to me, and I've seen you have newspaper 500 shillings, social media 25 bob, 25, TV or visual ads 450. And for me, I know I have someone in the social media industry who can help me in advertising this. So as an investor, I'll tell you, remove this item, put it 0, and I'll talk to my friend who is doing the social media, and I'll work it for you. Or for instance, if I'm working in a newspaper agency, I'll tell you reduce this price. I'm going to take to my organization to reduce or to work on this newspaper ad. Rather than costing you 500, it will cost you 300 shillings. So basically, this is a most important thing in your budget. Avoid as much as possible giving uh, giving a block figure in your budget. Yes, in the first, it is good for it to be block, but ensure it is under working somewhere. Because some of the investors, when you present it to them, this budget, they'll pose a question. So what comprises of their advertisement? And if you don't have these items, you've not itemized it, trust me, you'll start gambling and you start telling you, this. And the investor will see that you are not serious with your pitching idea. You're not serious with your business. But if you have these workings and you have the details in your budget, it will help you pitch your idea very well to an investor. Any other question on the startup business before we go to the next kind of budget? Any question? Any question? I'll just look to the chat. Someone is saying, I'm very sorry to ask, but is this Excel? Yes, this is Excel. Remember yesterday I told you Excel is the best and the simplest and the best for you guys at this moment. But if you have money to buy a software or an application, you can go for it. But if you don't, for a startup business, you can use Excel to do your business, to record your business transactions, and to do your budgeting. So yes, this is an Excel. How do you link? I think I've shown you how to link. So basically, I'll just repeat. So it's basically you put, for instance, if it's advertisement, you just put the equal sign. You go to the tab which you want to link it with. Then you pick the totals there. Then you put enter. Then it will pick automatically for you to be able to link. Thank you. Ice cream business, breakfast. We can do a startup business. Maybe you can do a budget for the breakfast restaurant or for a restaurant. We have internet cafe. We have electronic shop. Someone is saying, Portia, honestly, Excel still gives me difficulties. I think I will need to learn more about how to use it. Yeah, I'll give you a honest opinion. As a business person, it's good for you to have a basic idea of Word and also Word and Excel. And for this, it will enable you to pitch your idea and to do anything. So just have a basic idea of Excel. It will help you. If you are pitching using PowerPoint, how do you incorporate Excel into and when it comes to budgeting? If you are doing your PowerPoint presentation, I don't think, let me try and show you if I'm able to using the link. I hope I'll be able to do using the link. But you can be able to link. I'll have to stop sharing this so that, let me see if I can share the Excel and see if I can be able to show you how you can insert an Excel. So for instance, maybe you can have a new tab. New tab. So if you have your new tab, you can be able to come here, insert table, right? Not this one. there is a way you can link your PowerPoint presentation to be able to I'm not able to do it on my side. I'm not able to do it by my side, but it's possible. You can be able to share, yes. You can be able to link your Excel. But when you're doing your PowerPoint presentation, it doesn't mean the Excel will be there. It will be a link. So when you're doing your PowerPoint presentation and you click on that link, it will redirect you to the Excel worksheet, whereby now you'll present on the Excel worksheet. Alternatively, maybe you can copy your Excel and paste it in the PowerPoint presentation. However, that is not the best idea. The best idea is just to link the Excel worksheet to a PowerPoint presentation, so that when you need it, you just click on the link and the Excel will open for you to be able to present. Please, can one use this business budget of NGO/CBO? Yes, still you can use. The same way I've said, you can just tailor it to fit your need. So it depends on the kind of business you want. So you can tailor it to suit your need or your business need. Someone is saying, telling people to do donuts and earn money in 2 to 3 months. So training business, kind of business. What software is best in keeping stock records automatically? Again, there are several. I don't know in your area. We have different softwares or applications. I don't want to market for any organization at this time, but I'll share with Phoebe or Wells the kind of software whereby you can use to keep your records. But again, it depends with the country. Maybe they can be available in Kenya and not maybe in South Africa or Zambia. So it depends with the country of origin. But if you go to any software developer and you give them your need, they'll be able to assist you in coming up with a program. But again, Excel, you can use Excel to do this magic. You can use your Excel to do this magic, to put your stock records. However, the bad thing about Excel, you have to do it manually. So it depends with the country you are in. Concerning the power, I will learn it. Okay, sawa sawa. So let's do the last one, breakfast or restaurant. Let me share. So we can call this one the name of this business. I just want to get the person who asked it. Samidu. We can call it Samidu. Samidu. Someone is saying it's somehow challenging for them to use. It remains a huge trouble to get the functions from Excel. The basic for your business, I believe at this level, you just need the basic Excel. Just addition, plus, minus, multiplication, division. That is the simplest. You don't need VLOOKUP kind of, you don't need complicated Excel functions. It's just the simplest one. And the good thing about this template I'm sharing with you, the Excel are just incorporated there. And it has, in case you need anything, you can just add your item, right? You just add your item. It's just a simple Excel worksheet. You add the item you want, you type. And if you type and you add the amount of money, it will automatically populate itself because already the formula is linked. Not unless now you are going to interfere with the formula. But with this type of template, the formula is already there. So it's just about jangling about with the items of the expenses and your income. So Samidu restaurant, and I like this one, we do it together. What are some of these fixed expenses for Samidu restaurant? Rent, someone is saying some of us are running NGO and this come in handy. Okay, so we are having rent, utensils, right? Any other person? We need to see the kind of so rent, utensils, house is the same as rent, advertising, utilities. Yes, any other thing? Equipments, packaging. So all that, because of time, salaries, because of time, I won't go into details of specific, the way we were working here. So if we had time, we could start here and say advertising. How are you going to advertise? You put billboard, right? You put $100 or 100 shillings. Social media, 50, right? Posters, 10. So for this, because of time, I won't go into details about this one. So for that advertisement, because of that, 100. So for the beginning inventory, maybe you can do this one. You'll need maybe cooking oil. You'll need, apart from cooking oil, what else do you need? You'll need flour, that is wheat flour. You'll need maybe maize flour. You'll need potato and all that. So just an example. So for that beginning inventory, probably you'll need one machine and software for that purpose, right? You can give it 500. We'll need equipment, right? So under equipment, you'll just put it, the fryer, you'll need the fryer, you'll need the microwave. So all that, you'll put it there. So maybe 500 shillings. Then franchising, the franchise kind of business. So for instance, this kind of business, you're opening a restaurant maybe in Zambia, and the same business is operating very well here in Kenya. So you want to borrow the name. So maybe for the franchise business startup fee, maybe you can put 100. Graphic design, brand and logo, we can put it 500. Licenses and permit, we can put it 500 again. Reserve for unplanned expenses, we can put 1,000 shillings. Suppliers, we can put maybe 1,000 again. Web development, for this kind of business, we really don't need web, not unless, okay, for online platform, maybe you want to have online kind whereby the people are able to order for the food online. So maybe we can put 100 or 500, sorry. So basically this is where now you'll put that kind of your fixed expenses. Now we go to the average monthly expenses. So we are not going to take any loan. Sorry, this is not supposed to be there. We are not going to take any loan. So there is not going to be loan repayment. There is not going to be any monthly insurance, right? We can put monthly insurance for our equipment and also for the building in case it got fire or for burglary. We can put 500. For the rent, we can put 1,000 again. We can put 1,500, right? Salaries, we can put 4,500. And again, remember, we are putting it block because of time. I'm expecting when you're doing this, when you're doing your salary, in your working, you indicate chef is going to get this amount of money, cashier is going to get this amount of money, right? The security guard is going to get this amount of money, right? The delivery guy is supposed to get this amount of money. So it has to be broken down so that we have exactly in salaries how much, the breakdown of the salaries. Subscription services, we don't need any subscription services for this food kind of business. Utilities will need a lot of electricity because we are going to use electricity to dry our fries. Number of months, we can give it 2 months. This kind of business, you can give it 2 months. Oh, let's give it 3 months, right? So that is the startup cost. Then we go to our funding. We expect we have owner's capital of maybe 10,000, right? Then bank loan, we are not taking any loan, as we've said. We can increase this one to 25,000. We can have donations. We can have donations at maybe 10,000. Right? Our expenditure is too low. Advertisement, we can put it 10,000. Yeah. Can increase our expenses. Our expenses are very low. Begin inventory, it can be 220. We are buying a lot of cooking items. You can put it at 15,000. Yeah, I think that is okay. So that we have our net funding to be this one. In case we have a loss, you can see it will be negative. Let's put this one at 30. You see it will go at a loss, which is negative. And once it goes to a loss, the good thing about this kind of template, it will indicate red. And the red one, it shows it's a danger zone, right? So basically, that is the simplest way to start your startup kind of budget. It will help you hand in hand. So you can use this model to do or to pitch your business. And again, you can also use this model for those who are NGOs kind of business, for non-profit or for NGOs. Basically, it's the same. Basically, it's the same format. It doesn't change. Because for non-profit making organization, for those who will make profit per se, because for the business kind of model, they make profit. For the NGOs, it's either a surplus or a deficit. For the business, it's a loss or a profit. And the major difference is that for the NGOs, most of this money is used or is plowed back to ensure that the running of the business of the NGO is going smoothly. Unlike for this kind of business, whereby if you have profit, it can be shared amongst the shareholders or against the investors. But for the NGOs, the major difference is for the surplus, it can be shared. So you can use either your surplus to pay your employees the 13th month salary, or you can give them a bonus, right? You can say you're giving bonus to your directors, but you cannot say you are distributing it. You can plow it back to the NGO, but basically it's the same format, because it's all about here. So you can say net funding, which the net is it. This is the major issue. So for businesses, you'll say it's a profit. It's a profit or loss. And for the NGOs, it's either a surplus, because they don't like using the word profit. It's either a surplus because they're not for profit making organization. And it does not mean that if you are non-profit making organization, you cannot have surplus. You can have surplus. Your income can surpass your costs, or basically your cost, and that is a surplus. So basically it's either a surplus or a deficit. But basically the model is the same. And that's what I'm saying. You can tailor it to fit any kind of business or any kind of budgeting you want to use. I like to read some comments before we go to the second one. Thank you so much. Thank you, Samindu. Hi, Fulgence. We are at 1 hour. Sorry for that. Yeah. Now we'll go to the second one. This one is not for the startup business. This kind of template you're going to use when you're pitching or you're starting your business. Now we go to the next one. I'm going to share, don't worry, I'm going to share this one with you guys. So remember, we had 2 of them. So again, I propose you guys to use this second one because it's much easier and simply to understand. I'm trying to open the second one. It's taking time to open, but don't worry. So I hope you are prepared to give me your goals and all that. I hope someone is ready, right? I'm trying to open it. So remember, we said we had 3 budgets. We had the startup budget, cash budget, and operating budget. So I'm going to share with you. We do one operating budget. So we'll do the operating budget. It's not responding. Let me stop sharing, then I reopen it again. Sorry for that. I don't know why not. Let me try and reshare it again. I don't know why it's not letting me. I don't know why it's not letting me to put it. Let me try and expand it before I share it, because I just want to zoom it in so that you guys are able to see. Let me put it in a way you can be able to see, and I hope this time it will accept to share. Yeah, now it's on. So now we have this one, operational budget. Now you've opened your company, right? And you're supposed now to come up with a budget, all right? We have 2 for the service industry. So for those who are in the service industry, you can use this one, right? And for those other ones, you can this one. So we can have an example, maybe. So basically for this kind of business, we can have the operating income, then we have the expenses, right? And remember, when you're setting your budget, we have three issues here. This is the budget. So remember, after having your budget, you're supposed to review it on a monthly, yearly, or quarterly basis. So it's up to you to decide so that you can keep track of your budget. So that at the end of the year, for instance, maybe you've budgeted for the sales in quarter one, you've budgeted it to be 500 or 50 US dollars. You budgeted for this and the actual is 45. So you have a difference. And remember, I told you guys when we were starting, a budget is just a vehicle or a roadmap to take you to your goals. So you can overlap. So it means you can have a deficit or you can overspend. You can overspend or underspend. So don't worry, it's just a guide. So for instance, in this, we can start with the budget. Sales, the first quarter, we're experiencing maybe the company. Let me look for someone's name. I like using people's name when we are having this kind of charts. I've used Simidu. Maybe we can use Caroline Viola. We can say Caroline Viola. Caroline V Limited. So we can have that one. Caroline V Limited. So Caroline, we are having this kind of business, right? And our business is to ship cars from, we can say we are shipping cars from US to Africa, to Malawi, to Kenya, to Zambia, and all that. So we are targeting, or we are setting ourselves in quarter one to be $5,000 or $50. $50. Then in quarter two, we are going to increase our sales slightly to $55. Then in quarter three, we improve our sales slightly to again $60,000. And lastly, in quarter four, we are having our sales of cars equivalent to, we are saying it's going to drop slightly to $56. So we have this kind of scenario, and we have others. So apart from cars, we are saying our main business is to import cars. But out of that, when someone buys the car, you can sell them insurance. You can sell them spare parts. You can sell them tires. So we can say from the other source of incomes, other than the main, we can say we are going to sell $48,000. So our total sales, we're expecting our income to be $269. So that one I want us to finish on the budget, then we look at the actual, because we are going to start with the budget. You budget everything, then you have to do the quarterly review on your budget. So the beginning inventory. So we are assuming that we are going to start our inventory with 40, we can say is starting with 45,000. Yes. Then we purchased some more cars equivalent to 150. This one we can say 50, right? Then shipping charges included. So we can say our shipping charges is $10,000, right? And remember, guys, when you're putting this beginning inventory, remember to itemize it in the working sheet. Create another working sheet, give the items. The good purchased, give the items. Say you've purchased, let's say, Toyota Land Cruiser, this amount of money. You've purchased Toyota Caldina, this amount of money. You've purchased a V8, this amount of money. So let it be itemized. I'm just doing it in block because of time. Labor, our wages and our workers, we are going to pay them, let's say 40, right? Then we can say other things, other expenses or others, we can give it at 30. All right. I like this one. We increase our sales, or we reduce this one to 40. We can reduce this one to 30 and this one to 100. All right. So this one, you can put it at 50. Then we have less inventory, ending inventory. So remember we had this beginning inventory, then we purchased, so we have 150. So what are we remaining with? Maybe we're remaining with 20,000 inventory, equivalent to 20 or 40. You can say 40. Yeah, we can say 40. All right. So after that, now we'll get the gross profit. So basically, this is the first item is our sales. The second one is our cost of goods sales, which now it will give you the gross profit, right? This one will give you us the gross profit, which is 59,000. Then you come net operating income. You come here. Interest income, we don't have any interest income. Rental income, we don't have any rental income. Other income, we don't have any other source of income. Then we go to expenses, right? You start accounting and legal fee. You'll need an auditor to review your accounts after at the end of the year. So you'll need the legal fees. You can say 100. You'll need advertisement. We can say 100. You can say 150. I'll need to switch on my lights. Depreciation, not really, because our cars, we just buy and sell our cars. So you can say you don't have, but you can put a depreciation for office furniture and all that. You can put it at 10. Subscription, yes, we are subscribed to the agencies. We can give 50. Insurance, we have to insure our cars. You can give it 10,000. Interest expense, remember we don't have interest income, so we don't have interest expense. Maintenance and repair, once the cars come, we have to do some repairs, some 1 or 2 repairs, so we can put it at 100. Office supplies, we can give it 100. Payroll expenses, we can give it 50 or 10, we can give it 10, right? Postage, we don't want to incur this one. Rent, we are renting, so 10,000. Research and development, little amount of money, you can use it on that. Salaries and wages, 10,000. Taxes and licenses, 5,000. Telephone, you can say 10. Travel, we'll need to travel when looking for these utilities, 100. Web hosting, 100. Others, we don't have others, right? Then non-recurring expenditure, we have furniture, equipment, software, we can put 50. Gifts given, yes, we give gifts to our clients who have bought cars, so you can put 10. Others, you don't need any. So our total expense coming to 35,850. Income tax expense, you need to pay something to your government. So let's assume you are paying 12,000 to your government. And now here you have your net income. So for instance, if it's more than you'll find it. We need to put it, we said it is 12,000. And this is your net income. So basically this one, it will help project whatever you're projecting for the whole year, right? Indicating everything. So this one is just a basic. We've just tried to say we are importing cars and this is the kind of business we are having. So after putting your budget, now you do the work. You have the cars. You have the cars at your showroom. You have all that. Now you have to review it. So come at the quarter, when you are reviewing your budget at the end of the year. And remember this one, when you are reviewing, it will help you now come up with a budget for another year. So for instance, in quarter one, the actual, you're expecting to sell 50 cars, 50 cars equivalent to 50, but you are able to sell only 5, equivalent to 45. Second quarter, you sold 50. Third quarter, you sold 58. The fourth quarter, you sold 60. And the last, this one, others, you sold 50. So clearly, it shows, it will be able to help you when now you are having a budget for the next year. This budget is for 20. We are having a budget for 2020, 2021. So when you are setting your budget for 2022, you'll have now to look at your actual and say, in quarter one last year, I had planned for 50, but the actual was 45. And due to coronavirus pandemic, the sales is going to be lower. So it will help you now project. Instead of putting 50 or 45, you'll now adjust slightly your sales for quarter one by maybe 1,000 to put it at $44,000. So all through for the inventories, your beginning inventory, this one will almost remain the same, or you have it. Good purchase, you're expecting to purchase 100, but you purchased 90. Shipping charges, you estimated at 10, and because you shipped less, you are going to have 8,000. Labor related costs, you're spending 40, it went down to 30. Others, 45. Ending stock, it was, you can say 35. So basically, you'll go all through and check and ensure the operating expenses again. Your legal fee, it was 100, you negotiated, and it went to 90. Advertisement, it went to 200. Depreciation, it was 15. Dues for subscription, it went to 80. Insurance, you negotiated to 9,500. Maintenance and repairs, they were low, so 90. Other office supplies, can say 110. Payroll expenses, 15. Postage, you didn't have, maybe postage, there was 10 postage. Rent, it increased. Research and development, you did some awesome work. Salary and wages, 12. And remember, you see the kind of template. Whenever you have an over expenditure to your budget, it turns red. So it shows you have to concentrate on that field and check. So basically, this is one of the kind of an operating budget which you're going to use. So again, I've shared with you, it has goods and service industry. So again, you can use this one to fit any kind of business, either an NGO or any kind of business. So you can tailor it to make you be able to fit your business. I wish we had enough time. We could do this one in a most good way, whereby instead of just putting sales quarter one, we just itemize the cost and all that. All right? Any question? What is less ending inventory? Please, I didn't get it well. I'm not seeing your screen. Please help me out. I hope it's not everyone who is not seeing my screen. Maybe I can add it up. So basically, as I've said, you know the formula for gross profit. Gross profit is sales less cost of goods sold. So this is the sales, and this is the cost related to the goods sold. So it will give you a gross profit. And after having the gross profit, we have to look at the net operating income, other income. And it will give us a total, I think this one is total. This one I'll correct. Because this one is total non-operating income. This one is total. Yes, total. So that it gives you, it's basically this one and the gross profit and the other income, right? So in case you have interest income, you can add your interest income of 1,000. So it will increase your profit, right? And remember, if you're having an interest income, you're supposed to have an expense related to interest. So we'll have the total there, the total gross profit. Then we have our expenses. After putting your expenses, you'll have your total expenses plus any other non-recurring expenses. It will give you total expense of 34,000 Kenya shillings. So after having this one, we'll have the net income, which basically is the gross profit, which is the total up here. Which is basically this total here. And remember, this total is the gross profit plus other non-operating income, you less your total expense. It will now give you the net income before taxes. And remember, your income is taxable in your country. So you'll have to less the income tax. So for instance, most of it's 30%. If it's 30%, you'll just put that way, 30%. Yeah, or I can give it 30%. That is 30%. So our 30% tax, we can put it to the nearest whole number. So that 30%, which is this amount of money, and you have your net income. So you're also able to see you're projected to have a net income of 11, but your net income is 28. So there is an overestimated of your income. So any question as we finish up? I think time is running up.
I can read a question from the Q&A. It's saying, it's from Abdul Koroma. Let's say I'm working on multiple projects with all my staff occupying a single structure, and I want to allocate costs incurred for the use of the building or office to come from all these projects. How can I go about it?
So he's saying he's working on multiple projects. So we have projects A, B, and C, right? And all these people are occupying a single structure. And you want to allocate this one in each of those projects. So it's all about allocation of the costs. So let's assume you have a budget. So assume you have each budget each project having its own budget. That is what you are trying to say. Each project having its own budget, and you're having staff occupying one building and for the 3 projects. So the total cost of the building, let's assume the total cost of the building or the total cost, I'm looking for the total cost for expenditures. So if it's rent, so let's assume the rent is 10,000, right? And you are having 3 projects, right? The best option is to divide this cost equally to each project. Alternatively, each project has its own allocated budget. So let's assume project A has an allocated budget of 500. I think I can write it somewhere, if you may allow me to. So option 1 is allocate the rent expense equally. That is option 1, the simplest one, but not the best. Option 2, allocate the rent based on the budget stroke income. So we have project A. I hope you can see what I'm typing. Project B and project C. So the rent expense is 20, can say it is 20,000, right? The rent expense is 20,000. So project A, its budget or its income is 500,000. You can say 5 million or 500,000. Project B, its income is 450. That is 4.4 million. And project C, its income is 200. That is 2 million. So based on this, you can allocate based on the income. So the total income for these 3, the total income is 11.5 million. So what is the ratio of the total amount to project A? So you say is equal to this divided by this, which is 0, it's 43%. This divided by this, 39%. This divided by this, which this one is supposed to give you 100%, right? Now you allocate this rent based on the ratio. So you say this amount of money multiplied by this, the same is equal to this multiplied by this, and lastly is equal to this multiplied by this, which it will give you the 20,000. So basically you can allocate based on this. So depending on the income of the project, because if you can't allocate it equally amongst the project, you can use the ratio, the income generated from that project, to be able to distribute this rent. I think that is very clear. Is that clear? So basically this is how you can go about it. The simplest way. You don't have to complicate, but it's not only rent, even the workers, your staff, and all that. Distribute it based on the project. So if project A is generating 5 million, project B 4 million, project C 2 million, have the ratios, distribute it based on the ratio. I think that is clear. Any other question?
There is none so far in the chat or in the Q&A. Only a comment to say, please share with us the templates.
Yeah, I'll share with you, then subsequently you'll share with the scholars.
Sure. Abdul says, so clear, Mr. Ndilo. I prefer the second option, which I think is really good. Thanks so much.
Okay. So if there is no any question, I don't think if you have time, if we can allow us, we have one person who can share us with the goals. Remember when we started yesterday, there is an assignment, I gave it out. Phoebe, will time allow us to have one person sharing us what they have?
We can allow one person. We can allow one person for 3 minutes.
For 3 minutes.
Yes, then we can end.
Anyone who is ready to share with us their mission, or basically what we had said yesterday. My business goal is to increase profit margin. Caroline, it's not very clear. Remember we said it's supposed to be smart. It's not measurable. There is no time bound in your goal. How long the timelines in your business goal? It's supposed to be you remember the SMART, basically the SMART. I'm not saying the time in your thing, in your goal, sorry. It's not measurable. So maybe you could say my business goal is to increase my profit margin by 10% by next year, right? My business goal is to increase my profit margin of by 10% or by 5% by the year 2022. So kindly ensure that it has the SMART goal, because if you just leave it open and say my business goal is to increase my profit margin, how? It has to be specific. It has to be time bound, because if you just leave it open, you'll not be tight to follow up with your goals. So Phoebe, I think that's the end of my lesson. How I wish we could have enough time to interact with the scholars. The corona pandemic has made us to have this kind of conversation, online conversation. I usually prefer face-to-face, whereby we can interact with the scholars, but we had no option but to have this online interaction. I think that's from my end. I'm available. In case any scholar need to contact me, they can have my email and have a follow-up with me to assist them in any way in budgeting. And I'm also going to share with you the slides and also the templates so that they can use and they can be assisted in doing their budgeting. Thank you very much, Phoebe.
Thank you, Fulgence. Thank you everyone for the participation, for the interaction. This is where our presentation ends, and then I will get all the resources from Fulgence and forward them to the WhatsApp group, the Facebook group, and the web page. So look out for those as well. So without keeping us on for too long, I would like to thank you so much, Fulgence, for the presentation, for the vast knowledge you've given us today. Thank you so much. So I think there is nothing else. There's a lot of appreciation in the chat from everyone. So we will end here for today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you and bye for now.
All right, bye.